Hello, I'm Corey Miller, and this video is to go over my ME2900 prototype project, and the project that I did was an RC car. The first thing I want to do is just go over the components that I used to build the RC car, and the first component obviously being the Arduino, then the breadboard, and I'm using a servo motor to control the steering, two RGB LEDs, and the function of those I'll go over later, and then I have two 12-volt DC motors in the back, which are powered by a 12-volt battery pack, and the drive of the motors is controlled by the H-bridge. Finally, I have the IR receiver and the IR remote, and the Arduino itself is being controlled by a C battery in the front. So now I want to go over the method that I use to write code to the IR remote and the method that I have to drive the car. So the way that I laid it out is 2 will be forward, 8 is backwards, 5 is stop, 4 is left, 6 is right, 1 is forward left, 3 is forward right, and then backwards right and backwards left. The other buttons that I'm using is the power button, which will control the blue LED that will turn on or off, and I use this as a tester to make sure the IR receiver is working properly. And then I also have the play button, which is used to control a function of the RGB LEDs. Alright, so now I'm going to actually turn on the car and show you some of the functionality behind it. The first step is to plug in the 9-volt C battery, which will initialize everything. As you can see, the blue light will come on, and by pressing the power button, I can either turn on or off the blue LED, and that signifies whether the IR receiver is working. As you can see, it also straightened the wheels in the front by the servo motor. And then the next step to initialize turning on the car is to turn on the 12-volt battery pack in the back, or in the side of the car, to turn on the 12-volt motors in the back. So once that's on, I can go ahead and press forward, stop, and backwards. Now it's probably kind of difficult to see from the video, but the lights, the RGB lights are changing. So when it's forward, it's green, when it's stopped, it's red, and when it's backwards, it's yellow. Now the purpose of that is to let outside viewers see which way the car is driving, and it kind of gives it more of an aesthetic appeal. The next thing that I want to go over is another function of the RGB LEDs, which is when I press the play button, we have a party mode, and the lights will then flash in multiple colors. The final thing that I wanted to go over was the steering mechanism, which again is controlled by the servo motor in the front, which is attached to a beam, which is attached to swivels of each wheel. When the servo turns to a certain degree, it will also turn the wheels. So I'll have it stop by pressing 5, and then that'll center out the wheels. And then if I want it to turn left, I can press 4. And then if I want it to turn right, I can press 6. Now again, I can do this entire thing when it's driving. The issue is it'd be very hard to record this and demonstrate it, so I'm doing it here for you. So again, that's my RC car, and all in all, it came out well. If there's anything that I could change, I would probably buy a stronger servo motor, because on the ground sometimes it gets stuck at certain angles. And then I would also buy a stronger IR receiver, because there's not a huge range on the IR receiver, so when the car gets too far away, it's difficult for me to control it.